welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV. Yeah, we are here in the Lancer's Guild once more. A while ago, we finished the Lancer questline up to level 30, and as with all other base classes, there's a job to get. Eye of a Dragon, which unlocks the Dragoon job. I dare say you might just be the right woman for the job. The guild has urgent need of a capable lancer for a mission beyond our nation's borders. Hear me out, will you? I've received word from an Ishgardian friend to the effect that he requires our aid. I would have you go and provide that aid. As you may already know, due to her ongoing conflict with the dragons, Ishgard has kept her gates closed to outsiders for some time. The occasional dragoon on patrol duty is about all folks see these days. In spite of her self-imposed isolation, however, the Holy See has never failed to honor her obligations to her allies. It is only fitting that we answer the call and lend what assistance we can. To that end, we offer to dispatch a contingent of wood dwellers with all haste, but were politely informed they would not be welcome, much to our initial confusion. It was later explained that we are dealing with a matter of some sensitivity, best handled by individuals who are capable and trustworthy, yet unbound by allegiance, and who fits that description's safe adventurers. Secrecy being paramount, I can provide no details as to the nature of the task. All you need to know will be revealed at the rendezvous point. Should you accept the mission, take yourself to the observatorium. A knight by the name of Ser Alberic will receive you upon arrival. And here, right in the middle of a... I don't know, what is it, fireplace? Looks almost like it used to be a fountain or something. It's Ser Alberic. Ah, you must be the adventurer of whom Ywain sent word. Greetings and well met. I'm Ser Alberic Bale, Knight of Ishgard. The Holy See is much obliged to you for your aid. Time being of the essence, I shall proceed straight to the heart of the matter. The Eye, an Ishgardian relic of immeasurable worth, has been stolen, and we have reason to believe the culprit has come this way. So it is that we ask your assistance in its recovery. The thief has been identified as a man named Azure, a dragoon sworn to the service of the Holy See. Aye, you heard true. The crime was perpetrated by one of our own. An individual in a position of trust and no little honor. You may be assured that a fate worse than death awaits him upon capture. My duties to the sea afford me little opportunity to travel far beyond the walls of Ishgard. I must confess to a grave ignorance of recent Gridanian affairs. I was told that a sentry by the name of Logadanwell might have knowledge of routes oft taken by Ishgardian fugitives. I would prefer to keep my identity a secret, and thus would have you gather what information you can from the man. We must act quickly, for you see Azure is... But I've already said too much. What matters is that we find our thief and the Eye with all haste. When last sighted, Azure was clad in black armor. Now go and speak not a word of what I told you to anyone. Routes favored by Ishgardian fugitives? Now, that's a question I don't hear every day. You aren't plotting some unsavory act yourself, are you? Even if you were, I doubt you'd make it far. Anyway, we caught a few fleeing to the North Shroud. What with Gridania being home to nearly as many Alessan as Ishgard, it's no easy task to identify outsiders. If you're on the hunt for someone, you could do worse than to visit Florentel's spy in the North Shroud and speak with a man named Ishgardian. If any suspicious persons have crossed the border in recent days, he'd be the first to know. And let's do that, North Shroud. Hail, adventurer. Yes, I'm the one tasked with monitoring those who would enter our lands by way of Coerthas. An Ishgardian knight clad in black armor? No, I recall nothing of the sort, and such a striking visitor would be difficult to forget. My apologies, friend. I can only suggest that you return to Logadanwell and see if he has any other theories. Good that fugitives cannot change their clothes, right? No, like you say. Most curious. Why, it's not impossible that the fugitive could make it this far without being espied from Florentel's spire. Which leaves the possibility that our man is still in Ishgard. It runs counter to good sense. Would the fugitive not want to put a distance of ground between him and his pursuers? But by the process of dedication, it is a possibility. The clans of Ishgard are not kind to drifters and vagabonds. That said, there has been talk of curious smoke wafting from a cave east of here. At night. Where are you? I might begin my search there. Cave? Well, it's actually more a tunnel, right? Are you? Are you a dragon or a frog? There he is. That Ishgard will resort to sending coin-starved adventurers after me. I know not whether to laugh or feel insulted. The eye? It rouses for another? Preposterous. Our paths shall cross again. You can be sure of it. A dragoon clad in black, you say? Tell me all that transpired. By the fury, that the eye would choose another? I had not thought it possible. In light of recent events, it would seem an explanation is in order. The eye is no ordinary relic. It harbors the power of a dragon, which it bestows upon a single chosen soul, the strongest and wisest dragoon. He who is chosen is possessed of a power to fight our mortal foes, the dragons of Dravania, on equal footing, soaring the firmament as if it were the extension of a land. That man is known as the Azure Dragoon. The Azure Dragoon is the light of hope for all Ishgardians, and the paragon of all dragoons. For this reason, you may imagine how it pains me to have to confess that the man you encountered, the thief, is none other than the Azure Dragoon, and that I was once his teacher. Needless to say, I acknowledge myself accountable for Estinian's misdeeds, and mean to do all in my power to find him and recover the eye. But I cannot do this alone. I require your help, Desiree. You who have received the power of a dragon. You may labor to believe it, but there can be no mistake. The soul of a dragoon I bear glows in your presence, irrefutable proof that you are chosen. What I can ill explain, however, is the whys of it. Never before in Ishgard's long history has the eye roused for more than one individual in a single generation. But it avails us not to cudgel our brains about it. The fact of the matter is that you are now a vessel for the power of a dragon. That dragon yet lies in slumber, however, and you must needs possess the means to wake it. The soul of a dragoon. I would entrust you with mine, Desiree. Like Estinian, I once ruled the skies as the Azure Dragoon, although that power has since become lost to me. It was simply by force of habit that I have hitherto kept the soul upon my person. I have no inkling as to why the eye has seen fit to choose a second, and an outsider at that. Yet one thing is clear. None can challenge the Azure Dragoon and conceivably prevail, save another Azure Dragoon. You are our only hope of bringing Estinian to justice and reclaiming the eye. Of course, I do not ask you to do this unaided. I may be a dragoon no more, but what knowledge I have, I shall gladly impart to you. For indeed, when the time comes that you must face the Azure Dragoon, not less than complete mastery over the power of a dragon will avail you. That the perilous road lies ahead of you, I shall not deny. Knowing this, if you would still lend me your lance, I will teach you to harness the power that has chosen you. Go forth, my young dragoon, and rouse the dragon within. I look forward to your return. The next Dragoon quest will be available from Alberic upon reaching level 45. Dragoon unlocked. Your inner dragon grows stronger. And like always, equip the soul stone. Otherwise your equipment stays exactly as it was before with a lancer. And that is all. You are now a dragoon, and I am now a dragoon, and now I need to reset my abilities a bit because it counts as a new job. Now, the only thing that the dragoon has for now new over the lancer is jump. Let me shortly demonstrate once I find the mob. You use jump, move, and you move back. But it doesn't count that you move, it is that you basically forced still for a moment. So you have to be a bit careful in boss fights and the like, that you don't end up in some nasty AoE you can't move out of because you're in the jump animation. That is the big trouble with a dragoon. Not being hit, not being killed by your own animation locks. Anyway, Ser Alberic. It's pleasing to see how readily the dragon stirs within you. You show great promise, Desiree. A potential that may well prove a difference between victory and defeat. Estinian is no ordinary dragoon. Even when set against the legendary Azures of ages past, the man is considered second to none. Such is its prowess, in fact, that the day he was chosen by the Eye, it was proclaimed that Haldrath the Dragon's Eye has been reborn. I mean not to disparage your skills, Desiree, but to pursue Estinian in your current state would be tantamount to suicide. As promised, I shall train you in the ways of a dragoon, that you may face Estinian as an equal. Before we commence, however, it's only fitting that you are edified regarding our origins. It all began a millennium past, when our forebears resided in the southern plains in humble circumstances. The Fury, impressed by the spirit of our ancestors, decided it was meet that she must make them her own. So did she appear before Haldrath's sire, a man of courage and integrity named Forden, and bade him lead her people to the Promised Land, to what would become the great nation of Ishgard. Their journey brought them to a wide chasm, whereupon Forden and his people were set to building a bridge. It was then that a dark shadow descended upon them. The great worm Nidok. Heedless to his own safety, Forden fearlessly charged the colossal beast. Alas, he was pushed into the chasm by one of his own, a man seduced by the worm, and fell to his death. Taking up his slain sire's lance, Haldrath hurled himself at Nidok, even as tears streamed down his face. The confrontation ended when the young man, his hand guided by Helone, landed a mighty thrust that prized out Nidok's eye. With a terrible roar of pain, the great worm took wing and fled, while jubilation reigned below. Ishgard's priceless relic is none other than the eye taken from Nidok that day. It's a veritable wellspring of dragon power. Even so, removed from its owner, it can exert control over the hearts of men. Haldrath himself felt its malign influence, but his love of justice brooked no corruption, and he prevailed over the power, claiming it for his own. And so was that the first Azure Dragoon was born. Being derived from our foe, the power of a dragon is a thing to be loathed. But as Haldref proved to us all, so long as our hearts burn with justice, we need not fear being taken in its thrall. But what is justice precisely? Justice assumes many shapes and forms, Desiree, and none can say that one is greater than the other. So long as you hold fast to your beliefs and stay true to yourself, you leave no room for the power of a dragon to master you. But enough of history. Let us return our attention to the present. A knight by the name of Ser Alberic will see to the next stage of your training. Seek him out at Witchdrop. Seeing that the first add-on, Heaven's Ward, is all about Ishgard and the Dragon War, the Dragoon storyline is actually the story was pretty important, especially considering Estinian also plays a major role in the Heaven's Ward story. Well, he is later again introduced in during the main story, but it really helps if you already know him from here. And we need to go down there. Brucemont. So the adventurer seeks to become a dragoon. Ser Alberic speaks of legends and chosen ones, but I would see you prove yourself in more practical fashion. With your lance, defend yourself. I pulled the stupid mob. The dragon within stirs, resonating with the soul of a dragoon. You have some skill, I will give you that. The glow of your soul crystal. Perhaps Ser Alberic was not wrong about you after all. Now return to him. Your training here is complete. Luckily I can fly now. The soul of a dragon grows ever stronger within you, Desiree. Clearly your trial was a rousing success. I need only observe your crystal to know as much. Yes, though you have only just begun to walk the path of a dragoon, it is clear you possess the talent to become Estinian's equal. Go forth and make the powers you have attained your own. When the time is right, we shall proceed with your training. Where we get elusive jump. Your inner dragon grows stronger. Elusive jump is a quirky ability. It just sets you back a few meters. Can be good to avoid something, but you must also be aware what's behind you, not that you jump into a pit or something like that. You grow ever stronger, and I speak of more than just a flash. Aye, you are slowly but surely realizing your potential as an Azure Dragoon. It is heartening to look upon, though I must confess that my presiding feeling is one of relief. You must understand the mere thought that I would choose an outsider, one who ill comprehends the threat posed by the dragons, fills me with the gravest of misgivings. Yet you have... but I shall say no more, lest flattery impede your improvement. Now, during our last lesson, I enlightened you regarding the origins of dragoons. You will recall how Haldref heroically triumphed over the great worm Nidok, and Ishgard came into the possession of the Eye. Tell me, Desiree, do you believe that these events truly transpired? Or are you inclined to think them fairy tales? I ask you this because few folk have seen dragons in the flesh besides the Ishgardians, and most would as soon dismiss them as products of the imagination. Alas, dragons are no less real than you and I, and with Nidok perhaps the most real of all. In the course of its history, Ishgard has suffered the creature's wrath on 8 separate occasions. Each time the Great Worm rouses, the blood of countless Ishgardians is spilled. Let us revisit the past once more, Desiree. The time is 20 summers past, and the place Dravania. After a century in slumber, Nidok awakened once more to resume his reign of terror. Entire villages were razed to the ground, their inhabitants reduced to smoldering ash. Sensing the Great Worm's unbridled rage, others of his kind began to rouse, and in such numbers as to blot out the sun with their wings. A deep, foreboding darkness swept over Ishgard. Raging infernos painting the bellies of the sky an angry red. The agonized screams of innocents fading into deathly silence. In my station as Azure Dragoon, I was there through it all, bore witness to all the horrors. But there was no time to offer even a silent prayer. Nidok lingered in one place only long enough to lay it waste, and when he took wing, so too did I pursue him, a man possessed. This game of cat and mouse continued for what seemed an eternity, before I found myself face to face with the Great Worm. The battle unfolded in a tiny settlement on the edge of Coerthas, waging on for 3 days and 3 nights with neither side able to gain a decisive advantage. Remaining on my feet by sheer force of will, I realized that it must end now, else it shouldn't end well. Marshalling my last ounce of strength, I wagered all on a single thrust. My lance struck home, burying deep in the ruin of my opponent's empty eye socket. Yet before I could withdraw my weapon, the worm lashed out wildly in its agony, dealing a blow that left me sprawled upon the scorched earth, nigh insensate. In that instant, I thought myself surely doomed, but alone was not finished with me. Having lost the taste for battle, Nidok let loose a blood-curdling roar before fleeing to the sky. The battle was over. While I did not perish from my injuries, they rendered my body unfit to bear the power of a dragon, and I was Azure Dragoon no more. Lying bedridden, my thoughts wandered to all the innocent lives that had been lost, the people I had failed to protect. That last conflict with the dragons of Dravania left countless orphans in its wake. Estinian is one of them, the sole survivor of Ferndale, the final village to suffer Nidok's wrath. With none left to care for him, I did the only thing I could. I took Estinian as mine own son, instructing him in the way of a dragoon when he was of an age to learn. Yet I would not have you think me noble. My actions were born not of compassion, but of guilt. My guilt at having failed him. But alas, I have also failed him as a father. For what manner of man did I bring him up to be? A thief who would endanger the life of every one of his countrymen. Aye, you heard me right. All of Ishgard may suffer for its crime. But we will know little and less of the minds of dragons. It is conceivable the disturbance surrounding his stolen eye will rouse Nidok to awaken once more. But his kin have already stirred from their slumber serves a fair warning for that. Time is not on our side. Fortunately, it would seem you are more than ready to embark on the next trial. Make your way to Witchdrop, where the knight Estinian awaits your arrival. My nation is depending on you, Desiree. You are the one who would aspire to be a Azure Dragoon? You're not even of Ishgard. If you truly possess the power that Ser Alberic sees in you, then prove it to me with your lance. En garde. jump can be interwoven with your normal attacks. That strength. I've not seen its like since Astinian himself stood before me. Perhaps Ser Alberic has the right of it after all. Return and show your crystal to him. I have no doubt he will be pleased. You have passed yet another trial with flying colors this way. The day when you may stand before Astinian as an equal is not far off. And when that day comes, I will choose you over the traitor. I have no doubt of this. But you must be patient still. For now, you must continue your training. When you can do no more on your own, seek me out once more. In that we get Doomspike. Doomspike is kinda useful because it's our first AoE attack. It is a line attack in front of the character. It's also not very powerful, but it's AoE. Okay, but that shall be it for this episode, I think, and we continue this another time. Until then, I'm Mace, and don't get lost.